Good morning for AM 1340, 99.5 FM WGRV. I'm Reid Seals, and I'm here with Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison for our monthly interview. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Reid.
So first up, how did Greene County avoid a tax increase this next fiscal year?
Well, we worked very hard over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, Reid, to examine every single line item in the budget and every department for efficiencies in all the systems that we do. We've realized some fairly significant savings with, for instance, an example would be the recent introduction of the fuel depot has resulted in significant savings. The joint venture that we have with the town of Greenville to run the transfer station and haul our garbage has resulted in significant savings. Those savings combined with increased revenue, particularly sales tax revenue from where people were staying at home and ordering things online. People have been conditioned now to shop different ways. That has resulted in increased revenue coming into the county. That and very careful consideration of every single spending program that we have, certainly being looked at as recurring or non-recurring, has allowed us to keep our tax rate very low. The realized efficiencies have helped with that. The increased revenue has certainly helped with that. And we were able to avoid a tax increase. So we're going to keep looking for those efficiencies in government and apply our revenue at the most maximum place that we can get a return on our investment. So good fiscal conservative management has basically kept us from increasing taxes.
What were the safety reasons that led to the removal of the Kinser Park cabins?
Well, Reid, those cabins out there were constructed in the late 70s, early 80s, and they've been left vacant for a great number of years, here most recently. And they had broken windows, some electrical issues, some plumbing issues, and they were basically abandoned years ago. And the insurance carrier identified those cabins as unsafe and in a dilapidated state, and they asked us. They put in a request about a year or so ago that our insurance premium would have to go up if we left the cabins in their current condition. We actually had our building inspector go out there to see if the cabins were salvageable or we could do some renovation to bring them up to some type of acceptable standard for the insurance. That wasn't possible in the condition that they were in, being is that they were abandoned so long. So we decided to take them down. So the cabins have been demolished now. The locations cleaned up, and the insurance company is satisfied for us going forward.
So what is the current state of 911 funding, and how did it reach that point?
Well, 911 has a long history, I guess, of sort of operating on the bubble or being very close to operationally and funding as far as their operation goes. And so that puzzle has been sort of difficult to figure out. I can certainly admit that. The funding, the board, when I first came to office, was composed of individuals that really they were very, very good board. But the individuals that were on the board weren't necessarily responsible to the people for the spending. So spending could occur without any accountability to the people providing that money. So I elected to begin to put county commissioners on the 911 board that were then accountable for raising taxes or increasing revenue for 911 operations. So as we switched to centralized dispatch and the dispatch of all of our emergency services in one location, then additional employees were required to do that dispatching job. So the only job that they were not dispatching for essentially was law enforcement. So the Greenville Police Department and the Greene County Sheriff's Department had dispatchers in the 911 center, but when they left to return to their duties to their respective fields, then that left holes as far as employees went. So we had to hire additional dispatchers to cover those positions. So additional funding was needed if we were going to have central dispatch to cover those dispatchers' salaries and benefits and that sort of thing. So we increased at the county level our contribution to 911. We successfully lobbied about 18 months ago at the state level to increase local 911 funding coming back to Greene County, and that was a successful effort that both by the town of Greenville, the 911 board, and Greene County to get that done. And then the municipalities, the town of Greenville, came in with a contribution from their budget this year, and the 911 director has visited all of the municipalities and requested that they increase their contributions to 911 as well. A popular misconception is that we have tax money funding 911, and that simply isn't true. 911 is funded by a contribution to those agencies from the municipalities. So, as a secondary effect, it's all tax money, so to speak, but there's no property tax levy or wheel tax allocation, for instance, going to support 911. But we feel that with our increased contributions, both from all of the municipalities as well as Greene County, is that we're headed in the correct direction to address the proper staffing issues over at 911. So, is it the 100% solution? Well, that's a wait and see. So we will learn more as more time goes by, as we fill those positions and what is exactly needed for 911 funding. But we think we have a good solution in place to continue to build central dispatch and have a good 911 program to dispatch all of our emergency services.
What are some capital projects planned for next fiscal year?
Well, we have several on the books. We want to finish, for instance, the CCU campus with the construction of the EMS substation up there behind the Election Commission and EMA. The parking lot is certainly in a very sad state, and with the construction, the water line installation up there. So we want to repave that, get that completed. There's some concrete paving work to be done around the fuel depot down off of Hal Hennard Road. We also have the grant funding to expand the range that we're looking at, and a number of other projects under consideration that we can use American Rescue Act funding for as well. So those programs are ongoing. We're awaiting more guidance as to how we can help the most people across Greenville and Greene County with different projects. So we've got a number in mind. I won't necessarily throw some of those specific projects out there because we're sort of waiting on the okay to see if we can use some of those particular funds for those projects. So I don't want to get the cart before the horse, so to speak. But it's going to be a good year. We approved the budget in a record amount of time. We have a great budget. It's fully funds our departments. There's no tax increase. We got a credit rating upgrade. We're set to be debt-free very soon. Things are, as far as fiscal management, looking very, very good. My hat's off, compliments to our accounting department, the county commission, in the fact that they've carefully weighed everything that we've brought to them, and it's just a combined team effort to put us in a very good position financially. So.
Well, I want to thank Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison for joining us this morning. This is AM 1340 and 99.5 FM WG.